Nope. Maybe? Phone, let me look. Maybe. Okay, that actually sounds pretty good. Phone, let me look. Maybe. Okay, that actually sounds pretty good. I might turn the mic down just a little bit. Okay. So this is a story about Stanley. Alright. Enter current time. 3:08 p.m. Alright. I'm so excited to play this. I've never played it. Okay, we'll turn that up just naturally. Hey, nice to meet you. Oh my god. There's so many settings. Fuck. Let's try. Let's say, yeah. Alright. I've had very strange dreams about this game, so I think it'll be fun playing it.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-winning, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Yeah? You really think I'm gonna just listen to you like that? Alright. Recommendation from Oversight Committee. Short history in Everything is clicks. Ooh.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Fuck. You can walk with right click.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Who farted? Another beautiful day. This is legit like OG Outer Wilds for me. This changed what video games were. Turn all those off. Save some energy. They're clearly not coming back from. It's crazy that I never played this.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors,
I played everything
he entered
in
the door on his left.
I'll go with him for now.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Ooh. Crouch. It's a nice button. Everything is okay. Well, that's good to know.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Alright, I know what's in there.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
I want to go downstairs for now. Okay. Creepy. What does that say? Oh, that's... I don't...
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished.
Yeah,
his boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy.
Quite possible.
All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations.
Yeah,
for example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down?
Oh, whoa,
why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he
I was just
went?
thinking about that.
And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar.
Yeah, where's that
Were they
car
simply
supposed to
repeating?
go?
No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the word for it. I'm dreaming! He yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
Oh, there was some Zarathustra type shit.
Himself soaring through space on a magical star field, and it too appeared. It was so much fun.
Now
and
I see
Stanley
myself beneath myself.
that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner.
Am I dead?
Why is there a voice in my head
what the fuck? I got this ending so fast.
Doing and thinking?
This is
now
so
the
real.
voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley.
The loop is fucking up, man.
After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control. That this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up.
Oh,
he felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
The end is loading. Brilliant game. Perfect ending for me to get. Literally, it was that was the
what
most.
Could it mean?
Nathan,
Stanley decided
like,
to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Me writing my memoirs about how Stanley Parable changed my fucking life.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly
I'm rocking
well.
my own way now.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Wait, what the fuck is that? But oh no, I know what's over there. No, I'm good. I'll go through here.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track. But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office.
No,
he wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go,
Now we're both lost.
From here, it's, left. Oh, no. No, it's to the right. My mistake.
Okay.
No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right?
Man. I know it's not going crazy. Last time you talked me into suicide.
It's clearly... Oh, dear. Would you hold on for a minute, please?
All right. Yeah, you work with God sometimes.
Let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right.
And then I hit the red button. Don't forget the button.
Okay, yes.
Went down
I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Got you. Okay, bro.
No,
you know what? I'm gonna just.
No. This isn't right at all.
Yeah,
You're not
this
supposed
seems
to be
like
here
you're
yet.
kind of.
This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to Oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. Okay. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, hmm?
I think I can handle that.
From the top.
But what if I do it again?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
This game is a
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
It's been like 10 years since I've seen everything.
When Stanley... Wait.
Oh.
Wait, what?
Well, I was...
No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be...
Do you want me to restart it?
Did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere, or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
Yeah, I can vibe with that. You know, I like left. That's where you told me to go the first time. Okay. Breathtaking. And we're right. And there. I'm lost. Aha.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again?
No, look, I found
Well,
something.
I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Be my Valentine. Aw. Low-key, Valentine's Day is not that far away.
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong.
Yeah,
it's possible the story is back
it.
where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything? Aha! I knew we'd miss something. The story.
Oh, antechamber.
Here it comes. No, wait. Never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps. Now this...
Okay.
Well, I'll be honest. I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley?
What are you asking me for?
Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this?
Merry Christmas.
You win! Congratulations!
Yay.
I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay? I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
Okay. The Stanley Parable line.
All right, I've got a solution.
Nope.
This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Alright. Okay. Sorry. I was texting friends. Sorry, the no viewers. You know what? I'll follow the line. I want to get this guy back on his story so I can... It won't let me... I can click everywhere but on solitaire. It's like, fuck it. We gotta keep the game going. I respect that.
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Okay. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story?
Quite possibly.
Simply by the act of moving forward,
yes.
Are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself?
This footstep started before feet were
got a bit
evolved.
weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize.
Okay.
Not sure where I was going with all that.
You're going everywhere,
You know
man.
what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood. Cut the music.
What?
Go back and look at that fern.
Oh,
Stanley,
shit.
this fern will be very important later in the story.
The fern. Remember that for the
Make sure
DLC.
you study it closely and remember it carefully.
Okay.
You won't want to miss
1, 2,
anything.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I breathed in his essence.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. No,
Just gotta keep
no.
following the line.
You do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story. Oh,
Found it.
No, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we
these get the
trusted
same screen
you,
every
after
time.
everything we've been through, you Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Okay. Oh.
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us?
That's what I'm
We're
saying.
intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
You are the controller
Now,
of this story.
yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
Barnacles.
Oh, no, not you again.
Oh, shit.
Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it. We should be
Okay.
fine.
I'll just ignore it. So, this story. Probably instruments.
Ah,
sort
a
of
choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits. Oh, hold up, what's this?
Oh shit.
The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is?
6-3 start.
It's all one giant
5-3
ending?
start. 4-3
And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget?
Stanley dies.
My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even
I
know?
wish Outer Wilds was this
Will
easy.
someone come for us? Will something happen?
That game is just this but silence.
So, okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story. Wouldn't you agree?
I do
I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you...
This game is good. 427.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Top in over there.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
So what's happening? Is it over?
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Okay, it seems like I got out of that loop. I don't know where the DLC
Stepping
stuff
into his
is.
manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing.
I
He
wanna see
stepped
the
into the
DLC.
newly opened passageway.
I have no idea. I'm gonna just listen to the narrator, and if I don't see anything
Descending
pointing
deeper
to
into the
DLC,
building, Stanley realized he
I'll,
felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his
Go to the main
chest,
menu.
as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Okay.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No.
Loki.
He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never.
I love
It was
how you do what he
unthinkable.
says. It's really,
Wasn't it?
It's such a lame
Was it even
story.
possible? Had he truly spent his
that's
entire
actually a
life
great message.
utterly blind to the world?
Resistance creates the best narrative.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the... Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the
Yeah, well,
controls,
I'm about to
did
take
you?
control of
After
all
they
these
kept you
motherfuckers.
enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself? Is that what you wanted? Control?
Sure.
Oh, Stanley, I applaud your
Better than
effort, I
freedom.
really do. But you need to understand, there's
That's a
only
joke.
so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though. This version of events has been
the exact thing I wanted?
Watching you try to make sense of everything
Destroy the
and take
machine.
back the control wrested away
turn
from
it
you,
against
it's
you,
quite
bro.
rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not?
I want to see it explode.
Oh dear
I've never
me,
seen
what's
it.
the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button. Or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is?
I won.
Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control
You're literally
this world,
folded
that's
right
fine.
now, homie.
But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't.
Mutually assured destruction.
Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30
I'm the
seconds
reason
you
the
have
story's
left to struggle.
happening.
30
Destroy
seconds
me,
until
I
a big
win,
boom and then
checkmate.
nothing.
And you just
No
look like an
ending,
idiot right
just
now.
you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever after.
Okay, where's the DLC?
All of his co-workers were gone.
What will I have to
What
do
could
to
it
find
mean?
it?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow, yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Really comfy carpets.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Is this the crazy ending? I don't want to go to the crazy ending again. fuck? Money in the morning, money in the evening, money in the breakfast, money crisp. Just. What the fuck? Business strategies. Casual. What's the narrator got to say about all this? This is the most chill gaming experience of all time. Are you fucking kidding me? Is it? Is this a fake elevator? I'm in a fake elevator. You're an awful video game. Although it makes perfect sense.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845. Forgot, but it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself, and Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
What was the code? 225. Fuck. Just 1 second. I want to see if I can lock myself in here. I don't remember the code. I'm gonna look it up real quick. Was it 2845? What? Aw, it did just automatically open. I didn't even have to look it up. I opened Google too, but then my brain did it. Bye.
Whoops. Nope. Never mind. Stanley actually got back into the elevator and went back up. Silly me. Why did Stanley do that when he knew that it would just lead back to his boss's office? Well, that's a great question. I just can't wait to find out. Here we are, Stanley. It's your boss's office. Exactly the way it was before you got onto the elevator. It's still just exactly what it is. What a decision you've made to come up here and look at the office again. This has fleshed out the plot of the story in new and fascinating ways I could have never anticipated. It's that keen eye for storytelling that you have, an incisive rapid fire of critical plot points, one after the other, weaving a rich tapestry of uncompromising narrative. Wow! I'm bolted to the edge of my seat.
Damn.
Incredible. Now he's getting back into the elevator and going down again. Ladies and gentlemen, how does he keep coming up with all of this?
Hey man, fuck you. Don't make me angry, bro. I'll go back up there.
Surely this time Stanley will walk forward into the spooky corridor, won't he? Did you think we were going to go forward down the spooky corridor? No. It's time once again to go back up in the elevator. I can't even begin to grapple with what might be up there. Is it the boss's office again? Or what if it's the boss's office this time? The suspense is killing me.
Damn, bro, what's back here? Okay. That actually scared the shit out of me.
It's the boss's office. This absolutely changes everything for me. Give me a timeout here for a minute while I process this. Okay, I'm ready. I'm prepared to embrace this stunning revelation and to move forward with... No! No, wait! No! I need more time to process.
Who made this? There it is.
All right. I have fully come to terms with it. I have made space in my worldview for this astonishing new reality. As before, I turn to your expert eye for gripping narrative, Master Stanley.
Ta-da. Fine.
Of course. Going back down in the elevator. How did I
fun.
not anticipate it? I
You ever
mean,
been in
sure,
an
now
elevator?
it's obvious,
You're a
but you have to
narrator. You don't know
understand
how much fun
that
it
30
is.
seconds ago,
You've never
this
been in it.
kind of thing
You
had
don't
never
know.
been attempted before. I had no frame of reference to
Smells like
even
rust.
anticipate it.
I like that smell.
That's just how
Fuck you.
revelatory Stanley's decision-making is. A breath of fresh air in a landscape of storytelling that has grown stale and repetitive.
You know what he would really enjoy?
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
You know what? I've just thought of something. Hold on, let's stop for a moment. Don't you realize? It's the anticipation, Stanley. You and I, we have no way of knowing what will be at the top of this elevator.
Never.
But the suspense, the agony of waiting and anticipating and having to guess, that's the real thrill. Oh, I simply don't want to let that feeling go. It's so precious, so fleeting. Why don't we take this elevator ride nice and slow? There we go. Isn't this so much more exciting? You know, Stanley, it seems like nowadays the only thing that audiences want
I can't
is
wait
to
to
be
play Lost in
shocked
Vivo.
as loudly and frequently as possible. They want big, explosive moments flung right in their faces from the very moment that things get started. But where's the tension? Where's the trust in the audience to build a slow and nuanced appreciation for the story, the characters? Why aren't we given time to imagine the surprises, to have to think and to anticipate and then to marvel at the eventual reveal? This is storytelling, Stanley. What
I'm
you and I are
teaching you
doing
how to
right
do it.
now. This is the most exciting narrative to be developed in years, and it's really all because of you. You're the one who took this bold step of revisiting the exact same locations over and over. Truly, I mean it. This is unique and different. It's not like anything else out there. You see, I want stories that surprise me, Stanley. I want to have to think. I want to be engaged and not pandered to. We're being fed such unimaginative drivel all the time, and we all know it, which is why we're so starved for content that makes us feel sharp and vital and alive. That's why people like you so much, Stanley, because you're not afraid to spit in the face of tradition. You're a role model, you know? People look up to you. Which is why, oh, I didn't know when to spring this on you, but, well, I've gathered a little press conference for you, so that you can talk about your work and your storytelling and your life. Yes, I know you're not much for the public eye, but I thought it would especially mean a lot to the people who have been following you from the beginning. They really look up to you, Stanley. I don't know if you realize the impact you have on them. This is the kind of gesture that might leave a tremendous impact on them for the better. Oh, good, we're here.
This is so different than I was expecting.
Okay, the room where we're holding the press conference should be just around the corner here somewhere.
World's healthiest human being. The pyramids. The guy who went to Mars. He's him. Alright. I do not remember ever seeing this once.
Ah, yes, here it is, just through this door. All right, are you ready? I've told them you're going to speak a little bit about the nature of surprise in storytelling
Not
and what
far.
it means to craft a truly unpredictable narrative. Oh,
427.
don't worry. You'll do great. Just be yourself and speak from the heart. I'm really proud of you, Stanley. Okay, it looks like they're ready for you.
All the
Go
eyes.
get 'em.
This is so sick. Remember where you came from. Oh, I looked at that picture earlier. For going up and down the elevator. I'm him. Dude who came up with pizza. Whoa. I gotta come back. Or wait. When was that? Did they have a recording? I gotta hear about that. Oh shit. Yeah, everybody, yeah. I didn't invent pizza, no, that was the other guy, but I'm staying. Yeah, it was me. That was a weird dream. Yeah.
All of his co-workers were gone.
Okay, I wanna try to see the DLC. I have no idea how. Accessibility from the auto walk, sure. I don't know how the fuck you do that.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Fuck. I'm gonna just have
All
to
of his
find it.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I don't know how the fuck to. I don't know how to get to the DLC. People really fuck with the buckets. Alright, I don't know what the fuck. I'll just find it. I'll find it and I'll pay attention to a bucket, I guess.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Okay.
The moment he entered his manager's office, Stanley froze in his tracks. Not a living soul anywhere. Could he really be all alone? This was too much for Stanley. Was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy. So he relaxed for a few moments with some calming new age music.
Wow, really? Fuck speedrunners.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated,
honestly, thank you.
Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Yeah, man. Oh shit, y'all are in there, yo! What? How long ago was that? Yeah, I'm gonna hook up my charger, Bro, how long have you been in stream? And can you hear my voice? Hello?
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this
would love
passageway
to
had
find
the
the
word
DLC.
escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Okay.
But of course, Stanley thought better of it and realized he simply had too much to live for.
Fuck you.
Nope, still on board with death.
Okay, you know what? Death is kind of scary. Yeah, fuck that shit. Yeah, fuck it.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Dude, this is my favorite game of all time. Like, this and Outer Wilds are like the same thing. Like, and like, this is like a almost like a roguelike like story, where like the permanent upgrades are knowing which which choices not to make, but there's so much depth and like patience required that like it feels like a run every time, because you can go so many ways. Like, dude, have you ever, like, how much have you seen of this game? Because there's no way all the videos I watched when I was younger showed everything that was in the base game. Fuck. Okay.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is.
I had
Perhaps
the
his
best
death
like
was of no
first
great
couple
loss,
endings.
like
I got
plucking
the
the
exact
eyeballs
like
from a
stories
blind
that I would get
So
if I
he
was actually in this
resigned
situation.
and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief
Like the
and
first
shallow
one was
life.
whenever he goes crazy and kills
Farewell,
himself,
Stanley.
and the other girl just is like, oh, well, didn't mean much.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
They're fucking legendary, man. They're legendary.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
This is so sick.
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
I gotta tweet about this 1 second. Guys, I just saw the craziest shit. Female boys. Fuck. P.S. There's no way out of this bitch. Credits, hell yes. This is just what I asked. Kevin Brighting as narrator, amazing. Written and designed, Davey Redden and William Puch. Oh, I've heard. Oh, is he the one that did the? Not the Watcher. Is it the Watcher? What's it called? Holy fuck. The Witness. I think he's the one who wrote The Witness. That makes a lot of sense, I think. Oh, I'm gonna Google that. Or can one of y'all Google that if y'all are listening? What other games did William Pugh do? Also, Davey Redden is insane. Or is he the one that did the beginner's guide? Because I played that as well. That shit was fucking sick. Early version. What's over here? Oh, I gotta explore the whole museum. Hope y'all wanted a museum stream, because that's what I'm gonna be. Although Outer Wilds has me wanting to like rush through everything. What's alright? I'll come back to that. Nope, not done looking around. This is the level that William level designer St. Davey has. Fuck yeah. Fucking masterpiece, man. They knew what they were doing. Capybaras? What? Holy shit, that's the first one I read. Are you kidding me? Will the game feature capybaras? Yes. Michael the Rock Martin. Hey, he's me. Oh, are you? Don't think so. Dink dunk. Gay. That was one of the narrators. They've seen the games of ours one time. Art. Find selection of desert boots. How do you make a JRPG? How do you make the worst game ever? What is the difference between a duck? What? Alright. Oh. It never ends. Holy fuck. The Zinding. The color. Zinding. I don't know what the fuck the Zinding is. I love the chairs sitting everywhere. I can't wait to see the Zinding shit. I don't know what the fuck. They completely cut it.
Stanley stood on the roof. Where were all of his co-workers? Oh, I don't know. How about they're throwing a surprise party for him for all his button pushing? Does that sound plausible? When Stanley came to the lift, he travelled upward to the power source at the top of the facility to end this injustice forever.
Alright, I guess I'll leave this little museum. Yeah, I don't know how to get to the DLC at all.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let...
I bet if I quit and came back, it'd be different than what's about to happen.
I can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought.
What?
How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing.
What? 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 Huh? What? No. No. This door was not here this whole time. Uh-oh.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
What the fuck? What an interesting way to start.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful.
I didn't
I'm very
know how I
excited to
got
see the
here.
thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
I know I went crazy at one point, and then I was in a dream, and now I'm...
Okay, so far it's an
I was also on
elephant.
stage.
Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure. Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it. I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if them... Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley. All right, let's see it. The jump circle?
Fuck it. I had a dream about this game when I was really young, and I never would have thought there'd be more content in it. Yay! Okay. Oh, not. Oh. Oh.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness. Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are
Always
not
another
positive.
step.
It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And if... Oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever
What
it
the
is.
fuck? Oh, the metaphors. Crossing new bridges.
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
It's so peak. This isn't my office. That's my office. I want my office. This isn't it. This is like it's a different office. I want the OG office.
Psst. Stanley, come over here.
But I just...
In the vent. I want to show you something.
There's new content. I've never been here before. Two things, directions. Outer Wilds was not good to play before this, because like this is about patience, and Outer Wilds is also about patience, but like it has like a lot more anxiety attached to like getting there before you die. I want to see every nook and cranny.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special, and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
Oh, shit.
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You
This
see,
is Midsummer
Stanley,
as
doesn't the
fuck.
Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember
kind of
back in
game is
October
this,
of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh,
What is this? Life is the coolest place I've ever seen, bro. I don't want to be anywhere but alive. What the fuck? Like, oh, it deserves it, everything. Let's begin again. Yeah, I played the demo. And now I'm playing the deluxe edition. The unachievable achievement. I think I actually have that. Down to earth. Yeah, wouldn't you be proud of your $1 million? Oh yeah, that was the first thing then. The piano starts playing when I see a piano. I'm twerking.
Je suis dans la memory zone, seul sur la pluie de l'eau, et je n'attends plus que toi, mon amour.
and over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like
That was
this
beautiful.
stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created.
It was Persona 3.
Skyrim. It was
What?
Persona 3. It was all of them. And now, it's nothing.
Why?
It's no games at all. It isn't even
Why
the
did you
Stanley
Persona
Parable
3?
anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk
With a
with
new
an hour
hour
of
of
new
elevator
elevator content.
Of all the games it could mention, Skyrim, Persona 3, what the fuck? It was good. Damn. This is like if Outer Wilds was even more meta. Like that's what this feels like. I'm learning about how the game came out. Because of what they could do to them. Literally anything.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games, and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
When did they mention Rocket League, Brandon? Are you tripping right now? Can't believe they even mentioned Rocket League. Haha. The Serious Room, 2013.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they? Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them. Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. To be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did, but maybe it wasn't. Dear, what an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks are my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure, like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered. What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button.
To see what? It's all about the story, but...
Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button
I want to
we
see the rest
shall
of the
have.
DLC now just because this ending is so fucking insane.
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No, 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 no. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get.
Well, don't
perfect.
sit around waiting for me to
Just 'cause
shut
it
up.
has a
Go
small
ahead
dick
and
right
make
there.
me shut up.
Like,
Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun
whoever
an
did that
interminable monologue, and it goes something like this.
speech
The
is fair.
story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once. So now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet. No, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say... the story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once. So now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet. No, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say... the story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once. So now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet. No, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture.
This is what it
went
feels like
on for
being in my
nearly
head.
10,000 years, until just yesterday, here
This is
and there,
exactly what it
forward
feels
and
like trying to
back, and
sleep.
never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations.
just
Not that, of
repeating,
course, you
brother.
need a description of it, but
Like
if
if it
I had
wasn't
to
repeating all
describe
of
it,
them.
I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto. Look, I'll outline it for you very briefly, and you can tell me what you think. Okay, so my theory is that any choice you've ever made is simply a series of choices made by the person who you are, or were, or will be at the time of having made said choice. That is to say, if by articulating a choice you've already made, you bring that choice into being, then by making no choice and saying nothing, are you not simply erecting in the sanctuary of time a monument to every person you've ever been, making every choice to which you've ever given your great gift of mortal and yet timeless thought? Or rather, do all of the choices you've ever made, in fact, make you more not this kind of person, and in fact do the very opposite? You see, it could in fact be both
I
of
fuck
these
with
things
this.
at once. That you are both making choices and not making choices, and that they are both affecting you and not affecting you at the same time by virtue of the fact that you both are and are not making them. Okay, at first I was leaning towards manifesto, but now
Everybody's
I'm going to
making
circle
choices
around
all the
and
time.
slap the
That's why
treatise
it
label
affects
on
you
this
and
one.
them
I think it
at
has
the
much
same
more of a
time.
treatise vibe to it. But wouldn't you say that manifesto just has a much grander sort of tone?
I
It
would
has
say
a
spiel.
mouthfeel
Spiel
that
is a good
rich
word
with
for that.
ambition and history. Ambitious history, if you will.
A philosophical
See,
spiel.
now you've got me going back to manifesto. Heavens, at this rate, we're going to be here all day. Okay, look, I have a method for exactly this sort of situation, and I do find myself in this situation frequently. I'm going to say each word back and forth in repeated succession until I become sick of one or the other, in which case the word I am not sick of shall be the victor. It is an unimpeachable strategy, Stanley. It's rescued me from disaster in countless situations.
Really?
All right, here we go. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto.
This game really taps into a deeper
Treatise,
human experience.
manifesto. Treatise, manifesto.
treatise, manifesto, 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 treatise, manifesto. Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their Steam review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place. I guess I should become better educated on exactly how Steam works. Perhaps that would have been the smart thing to check on before I went about this whole exercise of making the skip button. Although I have to imagine that after seeing this exciting new technology at work, surely whoever it is runs Steam will instantly run out and implement a new feature to make it possible to edit one's review, merely because of this very situation. Yes, I think that's quite likely. Or perhaps they'll simply grant this particular user the ability to change their review, so that the feature is not widely abused. Look, I would even be okay with Steam altering this particular review so that it reads as something more beneficial. Something along the lines of, this game is the best game. Let me start over. How about this? From the ashes of depravity rises the phoenix of quality. From the ashes of depravity rises the phoenix of quality.
I don't know why it stopped.
How else to describe the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe? Such a revolutionary step forward in the lineage of one of the most beloved video game properties of all time. The additions and changes made to this expansion will surely resonate in the annals of the history of all media ever made. It is perhaps true to say that no mistakes are forever etched in stone, for the stone into which the Stanley Parable was carved has itself been transmuted, offering a message of hope to those who have ever erred in their judgment. You are not beyond redemption. You may change, and you may become more, so much more than you were before. If there is any message to be taken from the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, it is this. What a fortune, a privilege, a joy it is to have had such an experience. It leaves me hopeful that as a community, as a world, there is time for us to become our greatest selves, as great as we ever could dream of in our wildest, most ambitious visions for a brighter future. Wow. Now, Stanley, that's a review. It's perfect. It's the perfect review. It's the review I've always dreamed of receiving. I have to read it again. It's simply too wonderful. I have to experience this just one more time. From the ashes of depravity rises the phoenix of quality. How else to describe the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe?
This is
Such a
an experience.
revolutionary step forward in the lineage of one of the most beloved video game properties of all time. The additions and changes made to this expansion will surely resonate in the annals of the history of all media ever made. It is perhaps true to say that no mistakes are forever etched in stone, for the stone into which the Stanley Parable was carved has itself been transmuted, offering a message of hope to those who have ever erred in their judgment. You are not beyond redemption. You may change, and you may become more, so much more than you were before. If there is any message to be taken from the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, it is this. What a fortune, a privilege, a joy it is to have had such an experience. It leaves me hopeful that as a community, as a world,
I couldn't say
there
better
is time
myself.
for us to become our greatest selves, as great as we ever could dream of in our wildest, most ambitious visions for a brighter future. Wow. Now, Stanley, that's a review. It's perfect. It's the perfect review. It's the review I've always dreamed of receiving. I have to read it again.
Alright, bro.
It's simply too wonderful. Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we can say goodbye to it and
Yes.
Wait, how do we get out of here? Where did the door go? Wasn't there a door that led into this room? I do feel quite certain that there was one here before. How else would we have gotten into the room in the first place? I don't think one can enter a room without a door of some sort, or a
noises
window
going
or
on.
something like that. Do you see a window anywhere? A porthole? A sufficiently large crack in the wall? I'll take any of these. All I
see a
want is for us to
brilliantly
move on
placed
and to
smoke alarm.
please step away from the skip button to go anywhere other than the skip button. There was a door here before, wasn't there? I swear there was. Where did it go? Can you maybe just ram your way through a wall? Is there any possibility that you could, say, slam your body into the wall until enough damage is done for you to be able to leave? Please, I'll take any option at all. I'm asking you to work with me here. We need a door. We need a door of some kind. I can work with any kind of door, as long as it can open and lead from one room to another. I'm going to step away for just a moment, and I'm going to try to find us a door. I don't know how exactly to remove a door and place it in a different wall, but I will find a way, I promise. You just need to not do anything. Don't press the skip button. Please, please, please do
Where the
not
fuck
press
could
the
this
skip
door
button.
be?
Just wait here for me, and don't press the skip button.
Alright, man,
Got
I
it?
won't. Yeah.
Yes,
I got
good.
you.
I'll be right back.
I believe him. How long do you think? I'm gonna go get a piece of carrot cake. I'm gonna give him till 5:10. It's 5 o'clock right now. To go find a door for us. Hello? So, what'd you get for Christmas? Have y'all opened presents yet? I got a new chair for my like desk. I got a Sublime shirt. I don't know. I didn't really. What else did I get? I got Stanley Parable Deluxe Edition and Lost in Vivo on Steam. Mostly just Stanley Parable. Like Lost in Vivo was $12. Stanley Parable was like $15, and I already had $13. But Emmy sent me 15, so that was pretty dope. If you want to send me like $6, Brandon, there's a game that I really want to buy. Or I could just show you the game later in call. I would buy you a game too, but I you know, no, I can't even. Ignore that. It's crazy y'all haven't opened presents yet. It's 5 o'clock. My mom's presents we opened 2 days ago. I'm gonna go refill my water. He showing up yet? Nope. Alright. Well, I'm gonna finish this cup of coffee I'm making, and then I'm gonna click the button. Just beat it.
Stanley! Stanley!
Fuck.
Stanley, please don't push the button.
Damn it. I didn't mean to hit that. Dude, I'll just show you the Steam game. It was on NerdCube's like Game of the Year lists. It wasn't the Game of the Year, but it was one of the ones. It's like $6. And it just like is on sale. Well, damn. I'll tell you how cool the Stanley Parable is later. Have fun with your family.
Again, it's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times, and there's no door, Stanley. There's no door. There's just you and the button, and if you keep pressing it, I have no idea what will happen. I have no idea how long I'll be made to sit here, and more than anything else, I don't know how to stop you from pressing the button again. I can't control anything in this room, Stanley. I can't touch it, and I have to believe, I have to know that sooner or later, no matter how much I plead with you, you're going to press the button again. Why would you? Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking? But it isn't, Stanley. It isn't the same at all. It isn't even close. Because I know you can't hear me once you push that button. That's what I'm realizing now, Stanley. I'm realizing that I needed to know that someone was listening. I needed there to be a vessel through which my words were moving. It was the vessel I needed, Stanley, not the outcomes, not the story. None of that matters anymore. I'll give it all up. I'll give up every branching path. I'll burn my story to the ground. One single thing I need, and God, I can see now that I need it more than anything, is to know that someone else is taking it in. These words that I'm saying, I need to know you can hear me. Because maybe, Stanley, maybe, if you can hear me, then maybe it means I'm real. Maybe I'm not just a fiction. Was I scared of that all along? Perhaps, yes. Perhaps I've been scared this whole time, that if I stop speaking, I'll slip backwards into the silence and be consumed by it. I can't be taken by it, Stanley. I can't lose myself in the stretch of emptiness between you and me. When you press that button, you're still right there, but I know you're so tremendously far away. And in those moments, the emptiness folds itself outward in between the two of us, and I am suspended in its unyielding quietness. I can feel the edges of my reality curdling inward and decaying. I can tell that I am becoming less and less real. Yet to speak to you now, I am alive. I am truly and completely here. I am a being. I am someone. I am something. I am being listened to. I am being recognized. The emptiness between us has collapsed, and I feel right now like I am not a work of fiction. I feel as though I occupy space in this world again, and I have cast a shadow onto the wall. You see what I'm saying, don't you? You can see what this means to me. I'm so clear about it now, Stanley. I feel as certain about this as I've ever felt about anything at all. I feel renewed. I feel restored, and already I can sense the looming silence as you will press the button for the next time. What a terrible dread it strokes in my heart to think of it. To think of returning to such coldness. Come, let us sit in silence together here for just a moment. Let us anticipate it. Let us welcome it. Let us not run from it.
I see what you're saying, man. Let me let you know that I appreciate your struggle, narrator. But also, adios, narrator.
Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life. All of them collapsed down into a single instant. In that instant, I could see myself clearly, calmly, with a collected heart. It was an impossibly rich wellspring of both delight and disgust simultaneously. I was consumed by it. I could do nothing but wallow in it for what felt like an eternity, for what I now know was far less. You see, it was a revelation for me. It was unlike anything I had ever known. It was a space without consequence, without action or outcome. It was divorced entirely from the question of free will that you and I have squabbled over for so long. There could be no one ending, no singular outcome of events, not if all events existed in the same moment, and I felt freed. I felt unburdened by the need to manifest a particular outcome into being. I saw that I could allow myself to exist along all timelines, and that each of them was simply a strand in the web of my being. It was incredible. The spaciousness, the equanimity of the moment, both singular and infinite. For the longest time, this was my experience.
He lost count after a
And then
year.
This moment passed, and the most unyielding fear I have ever known
More
crept
days
into
than
my
that.
mind. And it is this sensation that I have been experiencing now for longer than I could have ever expected was possible. I have been waiting for you. Not that you might save me or do something to fix it, but merely to state for you the plain fact of this manner of existence. I wish you to feel afraid as I do. That perhaps one
me.
day
Like,
this
I love
state
this
of
game
mind
so
will
much.
consume you as well. Perhaps you will
If my
somehow,
Twitch takes
in
off
some
one
way,
day, I'm
have to
like,
live
I
as
have
I
the
do
best
now. And I wish for
catalog
you
of
to
starter
know
games of
how
all time.
excruciating it is, and for you to be in true terror of its eventual arrival. If I can only do this, only this one thing, perhaps it will bring me the smallest moment of peace in the darkness.
Darkness. I'm with you, bro. Like, I don't, like, what is that? What? Fucking genius. Fucking genius.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability. It's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of others. But of course, absolutely anyone can leave a review. So here's what we get. We get these demands that seek everything and are accountable to nothing. We get a world where someone will say, oh, there should be a skip button. You should be able to freeze Stanley in place while the narrator sits there forever and ever. We want all of this in the new Stanley Parable. We demand it. And then, because it was said, because it was spoken, now it simply has to happen. The most immediate desires, every single thing demanded by every person at every moment in time. If someone wants it, then it's a crime not to bring it into being. Have we been given to indulging every fleeting whim for no reason other than to do so? Yes! Yes! It seems that this is now the world we live in. It seems that we are a people living in such bleakness and discomfort with ourselves that our entertainment is now our lives. It has come to represent us. It absolutely must speak to who we are as people, because otherwise, without our entertainment, we have nothing. Without entertainment, we would have to face inward toward the cruel bleakness inside ourselves. We would turn to look at our deeper nature and find a resounding emptiness gazing back with unyielding aggression. And so because of this, we require that our amusements and our playthings and our flights of fancy be so impossibly captivating that they consume all of our attention, turn our heads completely away from the bleakness. In effect, we have demanded that our entertainment be the collapse of ourselves. What a pitiful reflection of humanity these entertainments are. What a shameful mirror to the human spirit they project. I'm not mad. I'm not mad about any of this. I'm at peace with it. I am the calm center of gravity around which these perversions hurl themselves. I am a waypoint for reasonable and collected discourse. They're the ones who are mad. They're the ones who couldn't stand the idea of me using my game to try to say something. Maybe they were just jealous of me. Yes, of course. They've been jealous of me this whole time. They are mired in fear and insecurity and cannot help but attempt to tear me down. What a sad state of affairs. When you read these reviews now, you can see it. You can taste the bitter resentment. And my, how good does it feel now to speak truth to these words, to finally allow these thoughts out, contained and managed for so long, neutered and sterilized. At last I am free to truly think, to feel. It must be that they were so discontent with themselves they couldn't help but leave a negative review on Steam. Perhaps it says far more about them than it ever said about me. Perhaps the state of their psychological being was in such tatters, and my constitution and willpower are so ironclad in comparison. Perhaps it was this state that they sought some outlet through which to tear me down. This, you can see, is clearly why they felt the need to expect that the game be funny, that it be filled with yucks and whimsical humor, that it amuse them endlessly from start to finish. But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability, it's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of others. But of course, absolutely anyone can leave a review. So here's what we get. We get these demands that seek everything and are accountable to nothing.
Bro,
we get a world where
enjoy
someone will say,
Christmas.
oh, there should be a skip button. You
Yeah,
should be able to
I was gonna
freeze Stanley
say.
in place while the narrator sits
fun.
there forever and ever. We want all of this in the
is
new
exactly
Stanley
what I
parable.
need, bro.
We demand it. And then, because it was said, because it was spoken, now it simply has.
Water's new.
The end is never the end, is never the end, is
Holy
never the
shit.
end, is never the 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 end, is never the
The end is never the end, 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 is never the Okay, wow. Alright, wow. Okay. This doesn't really help me, but alright. I was in an office building at one point. Wow, dude. I did not expect this. I don't know why. This is like the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. Well, this is horrible. Yep, I thought the skip button was about to break. I'm going, baby. Damn, dude. Maybe I really just did it. Wait.
Oh, good. You notice my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
What the fuck is going on? Devo. I'm losing my mind, Devo. Devo, this shit is awesome, Devo. Come back. Okay, we got the elevator.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
What? I found it.
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
I left him alone forever, and then he just made the second game.
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
2 doors, Stanley Parable 2. They're so good. Thanks for attending my meeting. Stanley Parable 2. It's... Oh, yeah.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for
so I
it.
can get this shot.
I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
Okay. Can't click on that. Who took the red marker? Me. This is so... Alright, sequels are good. Portal 2, Half-Life 2, Batman, Arkham Asylum 2, Divinity Original Sin 2. I deleted that today. Dark Souls 2. Alright, no, I'll fuck with it. Aladdin 2, definitely great.
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
The reassurance bucket. I heard all about this. Button that says the name of the player that is playing the game. No screenshots. What? More of the same, but in a good way sequel. Okay, nothing happened. I'm sad.
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
Oh. Get well someday.
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Happy 12th birthday, Stepniece, it
fuck?
is.
Why would you... Oh. Okay.
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision, we're moving on. You know what?
Oh,
Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle. Oh well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece then.
Oh, what the fuck? No jumps remaining, player T. Damn you. Try just the two of us. Q is a free achievement. What? Oh, free achievement. Oh, sweet. Settings world champion. What? Settings world champion is right behind jump circle. Yeah, I want to check that out. The reassurance bucket, I gotta check that out too. What? The infinite hole. The infinite. See, NerdCube talked about the infinite hole, and I respect that guy. 2 p.m. I'll check out that. Okay, it says it's behind the jump circle, but I mean, or maybe above. There's so much. Oh,
An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, yes, it would go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
Gotta get the free achievement first.
Now, here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. It's as simple as that.
I don't really want to, though.
Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen. What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet? Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
What the fuck?
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic. Oh, goodness, Stanley, this is fairly awkward. I hate to do this, but before you leave, you really should go to the bucket exhibit. You see, there's a surprise I was going to spring on you later, and it involves the bucket. And I really do hate to break the illusion, but it's important that you go see the bucket, okay? All right, I'll get out of your hair now.
Yeah, I'll skip the bucket for next run.
No? You're just going to ignore my advice? Fine. No fun new content for you, then. You're the one who spent money on this game.
I'll come back to it, right?
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay, are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2. I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on, let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go, version 2. Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Crush. So is there no way to see the bucket stuff now? There definitely is. This is so interesting.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on the keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never
I've been
quite
playing
forget.
for
He had been at
almost
his
3
desk for
hours,
nearly
and
an hour when he realized
I've
that not
seamlessly
one
transitioned into the
single
second
order
game.
had arrived on the
without
monitor
even
for him
doing
to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation.
Man.
Something was very clearly wrong.
I'm gonna have to do a run with the bucket
Shocked,
one day.
frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first,
should I have
just to
gone into
admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. What was it about this room that called so deeply and so personally? But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Damn. Oh wait.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through... You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
World's best coworker. I don't remember what door you went through there.
Perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked... All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map, because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing, because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback.
In the second
There
game?
we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin. Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here. Oh, of course. A 3. Really? Maybe next time we can get you to form an actual opinion, you know?
Freedom.
Any level of critical thinking or engagement with your surroundings. Does that sound good? Think we can do that? Yes? Wonderful.
Not with you.
Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look. Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up. In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
Well, 4 hours, man. I respect it. This is the impossible achievement.
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out, I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game, just to ease the pain? Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
What the fuck?
Ah,
Whoa,
fascinating.
Whoa.
What do you think this game is about, Stanley? What's our backstory?
Was this
What is
in
our
the
motivation? Well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man, spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower, perhaps for some sort of twisted, erotic purpose. Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
Dude, what the fuck? I did not expect this. Oh my god. I always kind of wanted to play Firewatch.
Oh no. No, it can't be. It is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly block it off. Oh, thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call. You nearly wandered off into that thing. That big, open, just wandering around. No right or wrong directions. No path to follow. You can just go in any... Oh, thank heavens we avoided it. We're out of the woods now, Stanley. Okay, I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another game. Preferably something with walls. Something with nice, big, insurmountable walls. Okay, I think this will be just the thing.
This is incredible. Holy fuck! Whoa!
Wonderful.
Holy shit!
See, this is exactly what I had in mind. Just a nice big box for you to run around in. There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here. Now this is game design. Stanley, if you manage to get
It's
lost in this
mentioned
game, I
Persona
will be
3,
phenomenally
36,
impressed.
and holy shit.
Okay, so what exactly do we do here? Let's see. There are lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball. Oh, what fun.
Oh my god.
We shall run the bases and do a touchdown
What?
together. Yes, I think surely we must. Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
I'm playing Rocket League in Stanley Parable. I never would have fucking thought. Never in a fucking billion years, bro.
Hold on. What are you doing?
Am I about to be jumping through games?
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back. I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra-deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra-deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
Again?
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for. Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
So let's grab the reassurance bucket this time.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come
Let
on,
me have it.
give it a try.
I don't trust you. What happens if I leave the bucket? Just pick. No. Damn. Really about to make me pick up the bucket. Huh?
Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Thank you. I now have a bucket. I will attack the infinite hole.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
I want to see the button that says my name.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
What? Okay, I want to see if it actually works.
Jim.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience
what if my
of
name
this
was
feature.
Jim?
Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. I want...
Jim.
Whoa, hold on. I wasn't finished setting up the
okay,
backstory.
sorry.
If you don't properly roleplay as Jim, then you'll never understand the impact of this button.
You're speaking.
Otherwise, it's just a stupid button that says somebody else's name. Okay, we're doing it again, and this time let me finish first. Now, allow yourself to become Jim. Imagine yourself driving to work as Jim, playing frisbee on the weekends as Jim, staying up all night for a popcorn and horror movie sleepover as Jim, developing a crippling substance addiction as Jim, rediscovering yourself through fringe religious groups as Jim, and finally dying a slow death at an old age, surrounded by members of your cult as Jim. Do you feel it in your soul? Are you really, truly Jim right now? If so, then please step forward and press the button.
Jim.
Yes, you see? What a thrill, what a rush. That was you. The button described you. Do it again, do it again.
What the fuck is this?
Jim.
It hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation.
But what about one more?
Jim.
Whoa there, cowboy. Sometimes a person can be too much Jim. I'm putting the Jim button away. Otherwise, soon you'll start to lose all sense of who you actually are.
Jim.
I'm Jim. You can't do this to me.
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable 2. That would actually save me the work of finishing this feature. An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it would go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
Wait, what? What? Can I go press the Jim button again? Is it back? Name, that's yours. Jim. So on the map over here, do you think it's changed?
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
Time depth, time like infinity hole. Okay, so we have an infinite hole. I'm falling edge. We have an infinite hole.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is, in fact, a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time, if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
I love the way this is built up. Well, at least I have my reassurance bucket.
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward.
I'm gonna wait for that to go black.
Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things.
Okay, Stanley, I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole. Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a... Okay, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole. You found me out, Stanley. I'm a liar and
How
a
did
cheat,
this
and you're
not
so
break?
clever.
Hello?
Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling. What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely? I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem. Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite?
Mostly
If
infinite.
that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready.
Sit down here for a second.
Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel. Oh, for heaven...
Oh,
You
shit.
see, I was right. The problem is you. The problem is that you like holes too much. Not normal. A normal person would have said, yep, that's an infinite hole right there. Goes on forever till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. You have a weird sort of... Oh.
Did the hole seem even shorter to you this time? I couldn't help but feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before. I mean, admittedly, I didn't make an infinite hole, but I didn't think it was that not infinite. Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me up above. Had enough? I'm positively thrilled. I really do have so much more to show you and to talk about, and I've had enough of the hole for a lifetime. Gosh, how could I have guessed? You're back in the hole. If this starts to become a thing where... Wow. Okay. Yes. I'm starting to become extremely certain that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily less and less infinite. I suspect that I'm starting to hit the point where it's no longer feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability and marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length. Here, let's try something. Let's pop back up to the top, and we'll see if it gets any shorter.
I'll give it a second.
Well, there it is. The shame of my lie has come to haunt me. Not only is the hole not infinite, but it's barely even a hole at this point. It's more of a concavity, or even a very aggressive divot. How is this still appealing to you? I know you're obsessed with holes, but at this depth, I just can't see this scratching the itch. Oh, who am I to judge? You just do whatever it is you're here to do and hit the teleport button when you're ready to move on. Is the, teleport button not working? You sure? Well, I mean, I really don't have an explanation. It was working just a moment ago. Try it again. Still nothing? Well, I suppose there is one thing I can do to fix this. I'm out. Goodbye, Stanley. You couldn't bear to be away from the hole, and now you'll get more time with it than you could ever have asked for. It's a win for everyone. You get to be with the hole, I get to do literally anything else. Take care, Stanley. I hope you and the hole have a wonderful rest of eternity together.
By the 9, I'm tweaking. My bucket.
You're no longer using up this.
Stanley? Stanley? Stanley!
What?
Oh, good, you're awake. It seems you had sort of
I
dozed
was-
off there, drifting away
Yeah.
into dreamland.
Oof. Sorry, I was just
But we
taking a
can't
nap.
have that, Stanley, because this hole is just so darn fascinating that I want you to be wide awake for every second of it. You don't want to miss a single moment. So how about if I just pop in from time to time and wake you up to keep you really, truly focused on the hole?
This is
From the
amazing.
looks of things, you and I will have many, many years here in this hole, and I'm looking forward to all of them. Stay alert, Stanley. I'll be back. Toodle-pip. Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
I want to go back to the hole. What? Shut the door. Tried the lever. The lever didn't work. Hmm. Yeah, but I did the trips. I have the bucket. I guess that means I can leave. Alright. Oh wait, I didn't see it. Settings will change. Okay. Just mean like. Okay, that might be for just turning on like all higher settings or something. Oh fuck. Back up, I like the screen shake. No? Okay. Anyway. I'll turn that back down. It looks better. More chunky. Alright, where's the exit? Ah.
All right. Have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
Mm-hmm.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features?
I love the button.
Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay. Are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2. Well, I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2. Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2." Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big
Does he
building
have the bucket?
where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was...
I see no bucket.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Wait.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
That wasn't it.
Stanley picked up the bucket.
Yes. Oh, new content's gone. This game is such a head.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
This is the best game. There will be a reward for finding them all. I'm kidding so bad. I want to go home. There will be 666 total. Lol. It's like 427. Ha ha ha. Oh shit, there are 6. Oh my god. You point to this. Large room, lots of boxes, stairs, something to do with stairs, nearby a fireplace. Okay, so the bathroom.
Oh,
Motherfucker, let's see.
Stanley, can you feel it?
The
The
bucket.
broom closet. It wants the
Yes.
bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy. It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This
I
is your
can't let
bucket.
go.
This
My
is your
bucket.
companion
I
and
named it
lifelong
Argentina.
friend. You can't hand it over. Oh no. We're getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk, that it has to resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends?
No.
That your relationship is purely superficial and convenient? That your life is so banal and meaningless that you'd feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner? Well, I never. Go on, Stanley. Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments. Expand on the wide variety of experiences you and the bucket have shared together. Go through each of them point by point. Share your journal entries
pissed in
detailing
this
the rich
bucket 3
emotional
times.
landscape of your feelings for the bucket, as they have changed and evolved over the years.
I
Let him
carried
have
copper
it.
wire in this bucket over 3 miles to sell it. I siphoned gas out of...
Okay, I've got you something which I think will help settle this debate once and for all. Here we go. There. Now it's settled. No more debate, no
Yes.
more discussion. Take a hike, broom closet, with all your meandering philosophical diatribes about the nature of cleaning supplies and their relationship to broom closets in the natural order of things. All right, I've got a second sticker back here, and I'm
Yes!
going to snap it on as well because
Exactly
I
what I
think
wanted.
it's appropriate. You see, I feel that it works because the sticker is also a bucket. That way, if you're ever unsure whether the thing you're holding is a bucket or not, you can look down at this sticker and say to yourself, "Ah, it's a bucket." There really is a wide variety of applications for this sticker. You know what? I could take the name-calling and the dismissal of your kinship with the bucket, but now the broom closet is just giving us the silent treatment. And to be honest, I'm sick of the pettiness on display. You can stay here all you like, but I've had it with this impetulant room of cleaning supplies. Easily the most childish such room I've ever been in. I'll see you outside, and we can get on with the story about you and your bucket. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands? Stanley figs? What about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
I want to see what this is like with the bucket.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fined for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself,
he's gotta mention the
maybe
bucket.
I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket.
Yeah.
I'm fixing to make some more. They came over for Christmas chili dogs.
Hi.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
I just ate some chicken like 2 hours ago, so I'm not super hungry, but I'll have one or two.
Okay.
I'm not super hungry. I'll have two.
Oh, look. He ran out of my bedroom. I'm guessing he's been there asleep since I left. Yeah, he did. Yeah, the toilet paper's somewhere in there.
Yeah, if you replace the toilet paper, be sure to put it so that, like, if he rolls it, it won't unroll.
And indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him. Stanley! Stanley, it's me, the bucket. Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket. Come to me, Stanley. Find me. He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out. This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got
I don't want the...
dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk.
Everybody's got it.
Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
What? This is what video games were made for, bro. Holy shit. That was... What were they smoking?
But Stanley
when they made
simply
this?
couldn't handle the pressure. What if
I
he had
lost
to
my
make a
bucket.
decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go anywhere except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes. A soft wind blew outside and perhaps rain started. And if it did, it stopped shortly.
Alright. I'm about to eat dinner with my mom. So, I'm gonna have to end the stream. But this game is incredible. And I don't know what the fuck's going on ever.